The Ducks will have to settle for one streak broken in the Bay. 2 days after breaking the 25-year Stanford jinx, they come up just short in Berkeley. Meanwhile, the Beavers followed up a Berkeley blowout with another slow start against the Cardinal and played uphill the rest of the night. In Tempe, the Bruins were on cruise control before the Devils rallied and pushed UCLA to the brink. At McHale Center, the Wildcats went with heavy doses of Derek Williams against the Trojans. At Matt Knight, the Oregon women went toe-to-toe with the Golden Bears for a half, and the Stanford women continue their run through the conference, stomping their way through the Willamette Valley. The beat goes on as we hit the midway point of the conference season, and this edition of Inside the Pac hits the beat right now.
A.J. Singler saves a turnover. Kind of great. Diaz knocks down two guys. Dead for Craig. It was Gutierrez that set it up, but he knocked down two Ducks.
The Ducks broke the Cardinal rule, but couldn't pick up their first Bay Area sweep since the days of Dick Harder in 1976. Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside the Pac. Tom Ward here with you for the next 30 minutes, along with Nick Krupke, just back from a historic weekend in the Bay Area. The Ducks finally win a game in Palo Alto, and lots to like about where Oregon is at right now.
I certainly think so. I mean, you look at the 3 games we already won in the Pac-10 season. A lot of people thought coming in maybe 3 would be all they'd get all year long. Now at the midway point, they've already got that done, and they had a chance really to make that first sweep down in the Bay Area since '76. I mean, they were down by 18, got back to 1 twice, but just missed some chances down there that almost could have had another big win down there.
Well, certainly, and Oregon, down 18, like you said, there were times last year and maybe earlier this year that they don't come back from a deficit like that. But I think the one thing we've seen from this team, coached by Dana Altman now, is that no matter what the odds, they don't quit.
No, and he was fired him up. You'll see it in the highlights coming up. I mean, he ripped into him pretty good when there was 8 minutes into the game. They were already down by those 18 points. Kind of fired the alarm off a little bit and said, hey, guys, wake up time. We're playing ball.
Yeah, well, already, I mean, Dana Altman building his reputation a little bit for Oregon as they break that 1986 jinx that a couple other coaches couldn't do. The other thing now, as we talk about Oregon State, sharing the basketball. I don't know if I've seen a worse demonstration of not sharing the ball than I did in the second half as they really kind of went in the tank against Stanford.
It was terrible. I mean, they fell behind again too, and then so many. I don't know the last time I've been to a game where there've been so many missed layups and points left underneath the lid that just weren't there. It was like I was at like a grade school basketball game. I mean, there was just a lot of blown opportunities again. They fought back, but then left it out there. And Stanford, you said shared the ball. They got so many big plays too, just up and over the defense is too easy.
Well, and the assists speak for itself. The stat category, 16-5 in assists. Stanford had 16, the Beavers had 5. And to further proof that this game was there for the taking, Stanford had 19 turnovers. Oregon State had 18 and could have been in the game had they converted some of those easy shots there and 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s that Craig Robinson clearly not happy about after the game, and we'll hear from Craig as the show goes along. But the quarter-century hex at Stanford came to an end by the Oregon man on Thursday as the Ducks won at Maples Pavilion for the first time since 1986. A win at Cal Saturday would be the program's first Bay Area sweep since 1976 to Berkeley, where Oregon had just 1 win in its last 10 games at Haas Pavilion. One of Dana Altman's first big recruits, Jabari Brown, out of Oakland in attendance. Ducks found themselves in a hole early. Portland's Marcuri Sanders-Friesen and the foul. It's 13-6 Cal, 18 for Sanders-Friesen. Later, Jonathan Lloyd, the alley-oop to a swooping Tyrone Nerad, but Cal still on top 20-10. A bit later, Jeff Powers, all alone for 3, knocks that down. Oregon down 29-11. Altman is hot, wants a timeout, rips into his team, and the Ducks respond. Scrapping on the floor for the loose ball, Malcolm Armstead comes out with it, finds Garrett Sim up the floor for 3 from the corner. Ducks within 10 at 34-24, but it was the Golden Bears who had the touch from distance. Alan Crabb drops in Cal's 6th 3 of the half, 47-35 Cal. Then Malcolm with a 3, 48-40. Armstead with 16 points and 6 assists. Scramble for the ball. Crabb comes out with it. Tomahawk slam, make it 61-52. Back comes Oregon. Jovan Catron hits the jumper. Oregon down 63-59. Ducks cut it to 1 eventually. Less than 4 minutes to play. Nerad dials up a 3, then flashes the little 3 monocle. Oregon down 3. Ducks shot 50% in the second half, but Oregon could not get any closer. Jorge Gutierrez, no-look feed to Krabs, 77-72, and no sweep for Oregon, 35 years and counting, 85-77 the final. Ducks still haven't earned a sweep in the Bay since 1976. Oregon has lost 10 of the last 11 times at Haas Pavilion.
K-Tron led him again. Everybody led him. 22 points, while Tyrone Narrett poured in a double-double. So the Ducks hit the halfway point in the conference season, now 3-6, and 5 of their next 7 games will be at Knight Arena. And if the Ducks had a chance to do it over again, they'd like to have those first 8 minutes back in the game when they fell behind by 18. And it took that tongue lashing by Altman to get him back into it. He took the blame afterwards, saying his team was not ready as the game was at 3, not 3:30. He thought his team came out to play. But Cal was really red hot. They're one of the hotter teams right now in the league. They wound up shooting 48% in the game. They were 7 of 14 from 3. That's a season high for the Golden Bears. But after the discussion there with his team, you got Tyrone Narrett sacrificing the body, almost got an and one. Then E.J. Singler gets into the passing lane. One of their 6 steals and 15 fourth turnovers led to a bucket down there by K-Tron. Cut it down to 10 again. Then more from Narrett in a 3-point game in the second, getting dirty to retrieve the ball. Off the K-Tron miss, could have tied it. Strobert had a chance here, would have tied it as well, but didn't happen. Then again, it's still a 3-point game, but a lost possession here as the illegal screen there called by Narrett. But Oregon certainly, again, had their chances to do it, and they are shooting better. You got to like how they approached the midway point in the year. 50% last week in the Civil War, 43 on Thursday at Stanford, 44% shooting at Cal. Something we didn't see earlier in the year, and I know it's, shooting's kind of a streaky deal, but it seems like they certainly are coming along and getting more towards the positive side of things.
Another indicator in that regard, 16 assists on 26 field goals, so kind of the opposite of what Oregon State did at Stanford. Yeah. They were in the game, had chances, still playing together, but just not quite getting the results that they probably should. A couple of calls went against them, but that's going to happen on the road. And in those situations, you've got to be that much better than the home team. And right now, they're just not there.
No, but you certainly are. You talk about them playing as a team. A lot of these guys coming in from JC and whatnot, all the guys that left and new guys with new roles, and they are seeming to come together at this point in time.
Well, and the second half of the conference season, they have more games at home than they do on the road, and we'll see what happens. Well, slow starts have plagued the Beaver men as of late. Thursday night, OSU trailed Cal 17-8 to begin the game. The Beavers never recovered and lost 85-57 to Palo Alto on Saturday. Craig Robinson tweaked the starting lineup in hopes of getting a better start against the Cardinal. The Beavs fell behind early but recovered. Ahmad Starks out top drills the triple. That gave the Beavers their first lead at 25-24, so no harm done. Then Lathan Wallace rings the bell from the corner on a 3, makes it 28-27 Beavers. But Anthony Brown gave the Cardinal the lead right back. His 3 makes it 31-30, Stanford at the break. We go to the second half. And Calvin Haynes pushing it and finds Lathan Wallace for 3. He knocks that down. He loves those shots from about 3 feet behind the line. OSU down 2. Coming off the bench was Big Joe Burton. Off the steal here after Stanford gets the breakaway hoop. Then Burton working down low in the paint. Just 5 points and 7 boards. Beavers within 4 at 43-39. Then Stanford pushed the tempo. Alley-oop to Josh Owens, 14 points on numerous jams. 45-39 Stanford. O-State won on the glass, but Brown flies in to tip it in. The Jeremy Green miss, he puts it home. The Beavers went nearly 8 minutes without a field goal. Meantime, Jack Trotter dunks on Stark. Stanford up 7. Tough night again for Bay Area product Jared Cunningham. Just 1 point. Beavers missed layups all night long, but the big number, 0 fast break points on many chances. Cardinal kept them coming, though. Owens throws it down, and that was all she wrote. 70-56 the final. The revamped starting lineup did not work for the Beavers. Starks led OSU with 17 coming off the bench. Meanwhile, freshman Anthony Brown celebrated his first career start by leading Stanford all scores with 21, a season high.
Yeah, the Cardinal end a 4-game losing skid, which matched his longest slide since a 5-game one back in '93. The Beavers now, their 6th straight road loss, 6th defeat in the last 7 games. And after the game, Coach Robinson said his team blew it, and they did. A real chance to earn a split on the road after not putting up a whole lot of an effort at California, trailing by 31 on Thursday at one point. Devon Collier got the start in that retool starting 5, got his hand in on 3 steals, but he just couldn't finish on the other end. This one would lead to one of the mini jams by Owens. Again, as a breakaway, the Beavers could not get it done when they had so many chances. And then it's Angus Brandt. Got his chance to get some hands in on 3-2, and that 1-3-1 worked a lot better than it has been. 10 steals for them off that setup, and they really kind of had it rolling defensively, but again, off a fast break, Collier, a little too fancy, doesn't go. Burton, tough night, 2 of 10 shooting, and that's just one of the litany of blown buckets down low for the Beavers. And again, 0 fast break points. What did he do there? It's a 2-on-1 break. Haynes takes it himself, doesn't feed Collier, who was wide open. Omari gets a charging call there too, as Jarrett Mann stood there to absorb the contact from OJ, but you've got to wonder, how do they regain that play that they had the first weekend against Arizona? You got to get Jared Cunningham back on track. He was shut out, so he fouled out in 16 minutes, only had 1 point from the free throw line. Roberto Nelson, 0 for 2. The two of those guys, 0 for 6 at Stanford. They were really big on that first weekend if they want to have some kind of semblance to get back to where they were. And now you got Washington rolling in, a team that already beat them by 29.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good matchup against Washington and during Craig's era. For Jay John era, for that matter, as well. Washington has torn them apart a few times. I just think they made it way too easy for Stanford in this game. I mean, you let them off the hook when you've got 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, and you don't share the ball. He's got Collier. Calvin Haynes has got Collier coming down. Just lob it up there for him. He can at least lay it in. They just make it too easy. Meanwhile, on the other end, Stanford goes down 2-on-1. They lob it up for dunks. They're sharing the ball. I mean, Craig has to be extremely disappointed.
He's still just trying to find a way. Again, Lathan and Calvin back in the starting lineup, not coming off the bench. They still got off to a slow start, so where do you go from here? Kind of tough sledding for the Beavers right now. It was a team we thought was on the rise. Really have kind of hit a pitfall here.
Yeah, back to the drawing board, really, I think. And you got to instill some basics back in your team. Like, you got to share the basketball. 5 assists ain't going to get it done.
Not at all.
Bottom line.
Playing as a team is certainly one thing he was driving home at practice on Friday.
Right. Well, after a Bay Area split, the Oregon men sit tied for 8th in the conference with the Beavers. Still to come on Inside the Pac. We'll go back to Berkeley for more with the Ducks as the rally from 18 down fell just short at Haas Pavilion.
I don't know if we were still patting ourselves on the back for the other night or what, but we really weren't sharp at the start, and told the guys game started at 3, and we showed up about 3:30.
Plus, the Duck women were a little bit half and half on Saturday. A wrap-up of the women's action is straight ahead. And as always, lots more Beavers, Ducks, and the rest of the Pac-10 online all the time at our website, InsideThePac.com. We'll be back after this.